Hello friends, welcome back. So in this video we are going to start doing some basic architecture for our application, and uh, we'll be creating our view model, our repository classes, and also we'll be seeing that which API we are going to use. So let's get started. So in this example, where we are creating a client for GitHub, where we can have the list of public repositories, some of the public repositories, along with the owner details. So we will be using a public API provided by GitHub. So that you can see over here. This is the Postman client for API testing. So here you can see that this is the public API of GitHub for listing some of the top repositories, or a random repository, I don't know. So you can just hit it. This is a basic get request without any parameters or headers. So you will simply get a list, basically a JSON array with multiple objects of repositories. So now first thing we need to do is we need to create a data class for this, that will act as our Pojo class for mapping our data to our variables. So firstly, just copy all of this JSON, and for creating these data classes I don't actually prefer creating all these variables and all that stuff. That is actually a very time consuming and error prone task, because in that you can actually by mistakenly you can define you can do some typo. You can have some typos error basically. So just copy all of these, and I have actually installed a plugin for that purpose. So first of all, let's create a new package over here, name model. So this will our every model class will be uh, in this package only. So now just click on new, and I am using a plugin. So that is basically a JSON to data class converter plugin. So this is a very flexible plugin, so we'll have to just paste all of our JSON file over here. We can format it to see it more clearly, and we can define the name of our data class over here. So let's say it as uh, GitHub data model. So now go to the advanced setting, and you can define that uh, these all variables should be of mutable or immutable type, and whether they should be non-nullable, nullable, or auto detected by JSON, that if that is null, so those some of the variables will be null. So but in our case we will be using non-nullable types only. So now the type, we are using JSON converter, so we'll be using the JSON type for this. And now we'll also be using the inner class models. So as like here you can see that we have a array, and then we have a object. Okay, and then inside that we have another object, that is owner object. So you can call it owner object. So if we don't tick this option, then what will happen is it will create multiple data classes. So one will be for this owner object, and one will be for this inner object. So that will create, if the nested structure is very deep, so there can be chances like it can create 5, 10, 20 kind of different files. So in our case I'll be using a single file, so I have ticked this option. So just press OK and click on generate, and in just split seconds it will generate the whole model class for us, um, as you can see it over here. So it is showing some error, so just click alt enter and you can easily fix that error. So basically you can see it over here that it had created a class for us. Basically the parent class is itself not a data class, because it is of type array list, because basically our data is starting with an array, not an object. So it is an array list, and the type is this uh, GitHub data model item. And now it have all the data and all the fields specified for us that we can simply use. And so we have created our model class over here. So now as you can remember that we have created a base URL over here and haven't assigned any value to it. So now it's time to do that basic configuration. So our base URL will be this much, and this will be our actual API, you can say, the query or anything. So this is our base URL after, because this will never change, and anything, if we need to add more APIs over here in our project, then this base URL will be same for that, and only thing will change is after this base URL. So now copy these repositories from here too, and let's just create a new variable. So this will also be a constant variable which will not change anytime in the future. So let's name it as URL repositories, and just paste it over here. So we'll be using this later. So now go to your API service class. We have also created a dummy function over here. So now we'll be actually creating a useful function for calling our API. So for that, in the this annotation, the get annotation, we need to pass the URL for which we need to actually call the API. In our case, it will be the URL which we have created over here, that is this URL repositories. So yeah, so here we'll be using this network constants dot URL repositories, and now let's change the name of this function. So let's name it as get public repositories, and this should be actually a suspend function, because we will be using coroutines to call our API. So this should be a suspend function, as our retrofit is having a good support out of the box with the coroutines, so we'll be using that in our project. So now this will not be having any parameter, because there are no parameters or required fields for our API, so this will be empty, and the return type will be the model class which we have created from the result itself. So this will be this GitHub repository model. So just paste it over here. Sorry. So that's it for creating our, or basically setting up our networking thing. So now what we are going to do is we'll be creating another model class. So not a model class, basically a sealed class. So if you don't know what these sealed class are, so let's see this by example only. So just right click over here and create a new Kotlin class. So let's call it as result data. So this will be a class, and for creating a sealed class we need to add a keyword called as sealed over here. Before the class we need to add the sealed keyword, and this will be a generic class. Basically generic class are like you can actually use this anywhere, and wherever you use this you can specify the types over there. So I think that you must be confused between this if you don't know what these generic classes are. Now let me show you this by example only. So we'll be defining the type over here. So the type in our case will be generic type. So these T's are used for generic. So these are basically generic keywords where we don't need to specify the specific type of the class. Like if we specified this, so it means it can be anything. So like if we have hundreds of different classes, like in this case we are having this class. So let's say if we are having 20 or 30 APIs and we are having 20 to 30 different data classes, then we don't need to create a separate result data class for every of the data class. We can create a common class like in this case, and we can use the generic type for it. And now what we need to do is we need to create further you can say data classes inside this. So these will be like our type classes. So this will define the type of thing that happened after we called the API. So these can be like a status types. So status can be like loading, success, failure, exception, anything like that. So let's create a status type. Let's say it's success. Okay, so this will show that the API has successfully completed, and if the API has successfully completed that, it should return the data class, obviously. So we'll again be using this generic type over here, that is out t. So, okay, so this is telling it that it has to return this type. Okay, so the data returning is of some generic type, and we'll have to where we'll use this data class, we will specify the type over there. So if we have 20 APIs, then in the 20 places we can specify different types. Okay, and our result data class will be a single class only. So here let's say it will return data, and obviously the data will be of type t, because it is a generic type we have created over here. So I'm using a nullable, I'm creating a nullable data type because this can be null. There can be a case that the data returned, API succeeded but the data returned is actually null. That can be the case where the there is no data on the server itself. Okay, so now this will return this result data class itself, and this will be of type t. Okay, so this will return the result data class itself with the type whichever we specified. In our case this will be this type. Okay, so it will return this class itself. So now the second status type is, let's say, loading. So this will tell us that our API is in loading state. So it should return actually nothing, so we'll be using nothing. Yeah, in actual we'll be using nothing. So nothing is a type in Kotlin. You can just control and left click over here, so you can see that it is actually a type. So nothing has no instances, so nothing is actually nothing, so that's why they use nothing as the name of this. So this will be null because it is nothing. So now this will also return the result data, but in this case this will not be a generic type because we are not using a generic type, and this will return nothing, so we will specify nothing over here like this. So we are done with this. So now another state will be like, let's say, failed. Okay, so in the failed there can be a case where the API can return a status message, which may we need to show to the user in some alert dialog or toast. So let's take a message over here which will be of type string, and this can be null too because there can be a case where our API will never return a status message. So now sorry, our result data will return you can say nothing. So you must be confused, like here we have taken string but our result data is returning nothing. So this is you can say like here in this case where our result data is returning nothing, in these cases we not need to define any specific type that it should return. Okay, but we can actually get the result from that too. So now there will be a fourth type, let's say it as exception. Yeah, so in the exception case there can also be a message. So let's return a message of type string, let it be null, and similarly the result data returned would be of type nothing, it will return nothing. Okay, so we have created our sealed class, and I am pretty sure that if you are beginner and you are new to this concept, you will be thinking like, what is this, how can I use this, what exactly is this class, and where it is required, what's the use case. So this class, this sealed class, is actually like enum classes. So if you have used enums basically in previous Java language, then you must be like thinking that think this of as a enum. So in the enum where you can define different types of statuses. So in this class also acts as like enum class, so where you can define different statuses, and uh, any of your logic can behave differently based on these status checks. So if you are new and you don't know what these enums are and but what these sealed classes are, then don't worry. When we'll actually implement these classes, then you'll be thinking like, wow, so this is actually pretty awesome thing. So you'll be more like surprised when you see that how these work. So till now we have created our basically our API service. We have created the function to fetch all the repositories, and we have created a sealed class which we'll use alongside this API to get our data. So in the next video we'll be creating our repository, our use case classes, and we'll see that how this repository class can be this sealed result data class can be used. So see you in next video. Bye bye.